I do truly believe that in order for a society to be high functioning, well developed, altruistic, and to generally flourish, that ideas must win the battle against ideology. And I just wanted to talk about that briefly in today's video, and also to give thanks to my parents, to my mum and dad, because as a result of growing up and never having had any ideology of any kind forced upon me, I have been able to kind of organically see the world how I see the world, without any or with limited preconceived notions of what the world should be. And I think the end result of that is whether you agree with me or not. And I do encourage debate and conversation and disagreements. Actually, the end result is, I like to think anyway, that I'm somebody who contributes to ideas rather than regurgitates ideology, and someone who contributes to the conversations and the debates of our age that really need to be getting had. Now, whether you agree with that or not, that's how I like to think of myself anyway. Now, what's the difference between an idea and an ideology? Well, ultimately, an idea is something of the individual. An ideology is something of the group. An idea is something that's unique. An ideology is something that is already laid out. And ideologies, when taken to their extreme, result in either war or genocide. And that is taken to the extreme, but that is ultimately where they end up. And ideology for me is about arriving in a position or making sure you arrive in a position regardless of the person you're speaking to and their ideas, regardless of the situation, regardless of the circumstances and the changing circumstances, and regardless of the evidence, the facts, the statistics, regardless and despite everything, ideologues are so ideological and so possessed by the idea of the ideology, which of course is somebody else's idea, that they must arrive at the conclusion that they have already earmarked. So when you argue against or to try and debate against somebody who espouses an ideology, it always ends the same way. They back themselves into a corner because they allow themselves no room for maneuver, because they cannot deviate from the doctrine that's been laid out for them. And the debate either ends very, very quickly, or you receive some vitriol, or they flounce off in a mood. And that's how ideologues work. They don't challenge their own beliefs. They certainly don't challenge the idea that's been laid out in the ideology. And their whole kind of experience is channeled through, and the way they perceive the world is channeled through the ideology. So it's always frustrating arguing with an ideologue. Now, ideas against ideologies. For me, ideology is clearly winning the battle, and we're in dangerous territory. And I've explored the reasons behind that. They're deep and complex in my videos. And I have a lot more to say about ideology as well. Now, the interesting thing is that there aren't actually that many ideologues who fanatically follow ideas laid out in doctrinal texts. But most people, I would say, and I do mean most people, are enslaved by various ideologies at the moment. There's ideologies of politics, there's ideologies of religion, there's ideologies of health, and there's ideologies of fear. And there's not enough people at the moment who are brave enough to express their ideas through their own authenticity and courage to contribute to the debate and to say what they really think and to give their own unique insight. So as a result, you've got, as I say, the majority in society, and I do mean the majority, selling themselves out to the ideology primarily of there's a very, very warped health ideology going on, and certainly an ideology of fear. And I would say that underpinning both of those entities is an ideology of far left Marxism. And I do try to go into the reasons why I believe that the far left, the Marxist left, has captured all organizational structures in the West and has captured the narrative and the story of our age that is being expressed through our media and on social media as well, is one of born out of communist principles, if you can indeed have a communist principle. So to go back to what I said at the start, I feel exceptionally lucky that I never did have any ideology forced upon me, rammed down my throat when I was growing up. Thus, I've been able to naturally and organically view the world through my own eyes and nobody else's eyes, with limited preconceived bias rather than overt preconceived bias, because obviously we all have our own bias. We are all affected to a greater or lesser degree by ideology. Yes, what I'm trying to say is I'm not consumed by an ideology. I think I'm on guard against ideology, and I enjoy the natural kind of organic process of creating and expressing ideas, as massively frustrating as it is as well. Some days you feel cursed and some days you feel blessed, but overall, would I like to prefer to be somebody who can contribute to a conversation, who can add value, who can maybe add fresh angles and unique angles to the discourse, or would I prefer to be someone who just spouts stupid slogans? Well, no, I know what I'd rather be. So the main and primary reason for that, I think, is my parents, who, whilst I disagree with them on many topics frequently, I massively respect them for allowing me to naturally kind of develop the way that I see the world through my own eyes. You know, I never had any political or religious or any other doctrinal set of ideas imposed upon me. And thank God that I didn't, because I've seen how narrow-minded that it makes people who weren't lucky enough to have that experience when they were growing up. And of course, it is indoctrination, it is brainwashing. That's what ideology is. And exceptionally difficult to extricate yourself from an idea that has been imposed upon you rather than an idea that you have naturally conceived of yourself. So I just wanted to use this opportunity to give thanks to my parents, to my mum and dad, for that. Because here I am now doing these videos, on a topic that is exploring the essential relationship of the individual in society, and to what threat is the sovereignty of the individual under threat? To what extent is the sovereignty and the concept of the individual under threat? And of course, who's winning? What's winning in the battle between ideas and ideologies? So, yes, I wanted to say thanks to my mum and dad for never forcing what they thought about the world onto me and allowing me to express in my own way. So yeah, that's what today's video is all about, and that's a crucial aspect really of our upbringing. Is a crucial aspect of who we are, why we are who we are. It's largely to do with our upbringing, and that's very, very complex as well, but certainly never having any particularly political or religious beliefs imposed upon me. So yeah, if you like my content, please do subscribe to The Imperfect Individual and let me know what you think about what I've said, and I'll speak to you soon. Okay, bye bye.